I have now seen Stones in His Pockets twice, a few years ago at the Rep and now at the West End Players Guild. Each time I have admired the virtuosity of the two actors who play more than a dozen roles between them. With the adding and subtracting of a cap, the tossing of a scarf about the neck, they become men and women, adults and youngsters, Irish and American, successes and failures, hopeful and hopeless. Sometimes the changes come so quickly that I barely have time to register one before we've moved on to another, so I fear that I may miss some subtleties and nuances that give Marie Jones' Stones in His Pockets more depth and meaning than I find in it. It seems to me to be less than meets the eye. Fortunately, most of the time the play concentrates on two characters, Charlie Conlon and Jake Quinn. We do get to know them, to recognize them when they pull their caps on. They both have found temporary jobs as extras, with an American company making a costume epic about romantic old Ireland. And one of playwright Jones's main themes is the contrast between misty Irish romanticism and the reality of these men's lives today. Charlie's video store has failed, and he's lucky to make 40 pounds a day on the movie. But he still has hope because the work brings him into contact with people he keeps trying to interest in the movie script he's written, until finally the director of the current film rejects it because it's not romantic enough. Jake has recently returned from America, where he found the streets were not paved with gold. He has a few thrilling moments when the glamorous star of the movie befriends him and even invites him back to her hotel room. Disillusion sets in when he realizes that her interest is not in him, but in his Irish accent, which she hopes to use to improve her failing attempt to sound Irish in the film. Much of this is funny, but tragedy strikes in this tragicomedy at the end of the first act when one of the locals, a young man using drugs to compensate for his bleak life, but who has failed to be hired as an extra and who has been humiliated in the pub by the glamorous star, he's found in the ocean with stones in his pockets, a suicide. The tension between locals and Hollywood gets tenser when the movie director, trying to stay within budget, hesitates to let the extras have time off for the suicide's funeral. At West End Players Guild, Jared Sansahero plays Charlie and Jason Myers is Jake. They also are the movie star. Sansahero uses his scarf very smartly without turning her into camp. The film's director, his assistant, who orders the extras about, the assistant's assistant, that's Myers' nicely done female role, an old-timer who was an extra with John Wayne, a voice coach, a priest, some of the characters as children, and on and on. I thoroughly enjoyed watching the actors work. Director Steve Callahan no doubt had something to do with the excellence of their work, and dialect coach Richard Lewis with the range of voices. Set and costume designer Tracy Newcomb kept the set simple so to give our imagination room to roam, and the costumes were just enough to help Sansahero and Myers make their convincing, lightning transitions. Chuck Lavazzi filled the sound design with Irish melodies that accompanied the occasional dances that Cindy Dugan choreographed. Nathan Schrader designed the lights. As I said, I admired and enjoyed the hard work of Sansahero and Myers and of all those who contributed to the production, but they did not fully win me over. I am not interested in seeing Stones in His Pockets a third time.
I think we're in agreement about both the performance and the play.
Good, good.